Well, hello everyone. Guess what? I'm back. It's Jen. I'm with the Tattoos and Toddlers podcast. We are in season 2 and I am rocking and rolling and I'm loving all these people that I'm meeting. And these podcast groups have been so much fun because every time I show up for somebody else's podcast, I invite them on my podcast. I just love having conversations. And Linda, thank you so much for coming today. Please introduce yourself briefly.
Absolutely. Hello, everyone. My name is Linda Murray Bullard. They call me the business plug. And so I help businesses put framework under their business ideas and suggestions.
Ooh. And it sounds like you've got a handle on some of these people out here just needing some help with their businesses and all the things that all of us that we know we're not good at certain things, and so we hire somebody out to help us, right?
Absolutely, absolutely. Because 100% of the business owners I've met with in the last 11 years knew
Mm,
exactly what their widget was. But business is an animal by itself. And
yes.
so, how to tame the shrew, how to tame that animal and bring it in control is why they call me in to help them to find out how much they really don't know that they don't know.
Oh, it's so good. We all need each other. Let's just put it out there
Absolutely.
like that. We all need each other. And
Absolutely.
so when we started talking with each other, and I was on your podcast, and we were
And
talking
thank you
about
for that.
business, and then I'm bringing you on mine, but you submitted a topic that I really am interested to get into today. It was called the power of resilience, and I
Yeah.
love topics like that because I know there's a good story behind that.
Oh,
I also
absolutely.
know the empowerment that comes with a story of resilience. So
Absolutely. Yeah, yeah,
let's get
yeah.
into it, Linda.
Absolutely. Absolutely. We can get right into it. So, I already had a storyline. My storyline was I had my mom died Christmas Day. I was 9, just turned 9. And by the age of 14, I had my first kid. And that kid today is a battalion chief at the fire department. His daughter graduated Emory University, and I'm into great grandmamaship now.
Oh
So
my
I have a
goodness.
10-year-old that is super, super smart. So I already had the storyline, but then in September of 2021, I caught the COVID variant, the Delta variant of COVID,
Hmm.
and drove myself to the emergency room. And they say within minutes of getting there, I flatlined. I passed out. Like I drove myself there. And within minutes of getting there, they say that, yeah, I stopped
Did
being
you
with
even
us.
get out of your car?
Yeah,
Okay.
I checked in. They was expecting me. My last full memory
Okay.
is walking into the emergency room, telling them my name because my doctor had already pre-registered me. I had
Okay.
called her and told her about my positive test, and she told me to get to the emergency room. So I took a shower, wore the word. You talk about weirdness. Wore the worst things in my closet, right? This big T-shirt and these striped Duke shorts. Okay, I'm 64, y'all, but this I was 62 then, so it's a couple of years ago. So I go in and they welcome me and say, "Hey, we've been waiting for you." So I remember the guy saying, "Hey, come go this way with me." So I'm following him, and I do semi remember being in a room, and I
Mm.
remember my sister coming in and saying, "You never tell me what's happening with you." And I'm thinking, I have COVID. Why she's here? But anyway, so I wake up 15 days later.
Oh my gosh. So that's
So
all you
yeah,
remember, and then bam, 15 days are gone.
yeah,
Oh my
yeah.
gosh.
They say I stopped breathing, and so
Mm.
they put me on the ventilator, and then they put me in a coma for 15 days to give my body time to fight back. And so 15 days span of time, when I woke up, all my muscles had atrophied. And so I couldn't raise my hand. I couldn't swallow. Like you have over 600 muscles in your body, and you don't know they're there because most of them are involuntary, just do what they do. But
Yeah.
all of mine had atrophy. So the only thing I could move was my head. So from my neck down, I really couldn't move. I had to learn how to retrain those muscles so that I could get back up and swallow and do the normal things we do every day.
Oh my gosh.
But
And I've only had like a knee surgery, and only know what atrophy is like on like a piece of my leg. I can't imagine like my whole body.
yeah, exactly, right, right. And that's I mean something so normal as taking your hand and putting it to your face. I couldn't
Yes.
do that. Like I could do
Yes.
none of the things. And they had to thicken my water because I would aspirate because my muscles were not working like they should in my entire body. That 15 days of just laying there, I was melting away, literally. I was 51 pounds
Hmm.
laying there. just,
Mm-hmm.
you know, but woke up and knew that I had to get back to life, right?
Yeah.
I have boys. I don't have girls. I have three boys. And two live in the city with me. One lives in Cincinnati. And so I knew that they would be there for me, but I didn't feel like my life was over.
Yeah.
And so I had to learn how to walk and talk and do all the things that people take, or that even I took for granted before my episode. And
Yeah.
so the power of resilience is about what does that look like? Like when you are where you are flatlining, like when it's your life, it's your job, it's a relationship, it's things in life, right? When things flatline, then how do you reclaim you? How do you get back to finding yourself and finding your strength and finding your power to be what you were designated to be put here?
Yeah, and it sounds like it's not like even that it was a wake-up call. It was just like you knew your life wasn't over. And you're
Yeah,
like, okay, so I'm gonna get up out of this bed. I'm gonna do the work because we know that rehab is real.
rehab is. Ooh. I had a flashback just then.
And I'm like, okay, so we get up, we get out of the hospital, we go through all the motions of getting better, and that in itself is a resilient
Yeah,
marker.
well, here's the thing. I didn't have insurance. I
Oh,
didn't have insurance, so my rehab was outpatient.
uh-huh.
So tell you about my sons. I told you my oldest one is a battalion chief in the fire department, and my youngest is a firefighter as well. And so my oldest would come over and do exercises with me be, to get me ready for rehab because it was a time like a couple of months before I could get to rehab. And he knew that COVID was still fighting. I was still fighting COVID because it was still having me listless. I was tired. I couldn't eat, couldn't feed myself, all these things. I couldn't cook, all those things that he was coming in doing for me.
Yeah.
But I knew he wanted to see me back on my feet too. And so for 3 solid weeks, he was here every day and helping me get back on my feet. And so know that sometimes you can't do it alone. Know that sometimes you have to trust people to help you how they help you. And so, what does that look like? Well, I came home and they had threw all my stuff away.
Oh no.
I thank God for him, but I get it because when we're comfortable in our spaces are made to please us.
Yeah.
But somebody coming in who lives in a sterile, clean house may say, "Oh well," but being okay with that, not letting that stress me out, thanking God that I have a son who is able to lift me if he needs to, who's able to help me get back together. My goddaughter moved in and made sure all the female things were done, like helping myself, helping being with me. And it was pretty much their presence,
Yeah.
being just somebody to be there if I needed to be there. Every night they went home to their homes and I went to bed. But every morning they showed up on deck. What do you need today? What do we need to do for you? So that's understanding. I'm a type A person. I've been the fixer all those years. Like
Yeah.
I've been the person everybody comes to for help. But at this time, I could not help myself. And I'm not used to accepting help.
Oh my gosh. Yeah.
And so the power of resilience means you really have to think about what outcome are you trying to get to and accept help however it comes because you can't do it by yourself. Like I couldn't cook, I couldn't clean my house. I couldn't do the things I needed to do
You
that I would
couldn't run to
normally
the
do.
store and get groceries.
Yeah, yeah, right, exactly.
And maybe not
Exactly.
even open the front door for Amazon. It's like there's things that
It
you
was,
needed to
I
work
came home on a
through.
walker. I asked, I prayed and asked to be able to use the bathroom for myself and to be able to walk with a walker. And that's what I did is I walked with a walker because I was determined coming out of the hospital. I had a brother that I used to take care. I was his caretaker for 29 years. And my brother was literally dying in the hospital. And here's how the parallel of that is.
Yeah.
He went through his episode. He had bad teeth in his mouth. And they had set up an infection that was literally eating his spine. The same doctor that saved his life is the same doctor that admitted me during my COVID experience.
Ooh.
Yeah, same person. And even though we were through two different things, I remember my brother like melting away in the hospital like I did, but telling me, "Hey, Lynn, I'm going to walk out of here." And I remembered that, and I remember, I know now what he felt like. Like that's what I exactly what I told my doctor. I'm going to walk out of here. I'm going to be able to do more things than I've ever done when I get out of here, because my kids. I just felt like my life wasn't over,
Yeah.
and I refused to. I have boys. I have refused to allow to them to do certain things to me unless they had to, and I
Mm.
felt like they didn't have to. And so, me being resilient, my power of resilience means I had to be all of me, like whatever fragment of me that was. I had to show up in that fragment in order to get to be better. Like people look at me today and think, you went through what?
Yeah.
know, I'm walking 3 miles every 3 times a week. I'm traveling to different cities doing speaking engagements. I'm doing all these things. And I tell everybody that I meet, I woke up to meet you because I'm meeting all types of people on this side of the experience that I didn't know before. And so that's
So
the power.
transformational.
Yeah.
So
I've got,
transformational.
you know what you're made of when you have to use it all. I had to use it all. Like I had to dig deep and go and
Literally, y'all listening, I need you to stop for a second and imagine just for a second, she had to work hard from the neck down for every piece of her body that we do take for granted. I even talk to people a lot about the energy that we put into our life and
yeah,
business. As that, you know how people would say, well, if you're not moving forward, you're moving backward. And I was like, but do you know how much power it takes to stand still?
to just stand still,
Very much like
to
you're
be.
discussing us swallowing. We take for granted just the swallowing muscles and the fact that our bodies, it pushes it all the food all the way down to our stomach, right?
Like we there are so many things we do and we don't have to think about it. We just do it. Like if you want to raise your hand, just raise your hand. You
Raise your
don't think about all the muscles it takes to raise your hand. You don't think about all the muscles it takes to swallow food, to chew and swallow food. Like, I had no solids. I was on Paris for a number of days because I had no swallow capabilities at all. And they were trying to get medicines and food into me. And I had veins popping everywhere.
Yep.
All I had 6 leads in my neck. Like they had me anywhere that they could put a needle. They had those things going, but still,
Yeah.
I had to transfer. I couldn't live my life like that.
Yeah.
And I was the oldest living person to come off the ventilator at that hospital at that time. They had 12 pods of people going through COVID, and one by one, they were all dead, dying. One, younger than me, and several older than me. Like, it was not discriminative of age. It was
Yes.
people. My friend had her nephew going through the same thing at the same time. He didn't make it. And she was like, you normally come around when I have death in my family and you weren't responding. And I knew something was wrong. But yeah, I was fighting for my life, literally fighting for my life.
Yeah, and I just as you were discussing that part of your life too, and we were discussing the power of resilience in how those like you had set internally some small goals for yourself. I say small, they're really big. It's really big to get up out of bed again and to walk again. But like it's I'm sure it made a difference. Number one, you made a decision that my chapter's not over. And number two, you started making your and setting your little small goals to get up and out of that bed and do the things that you needed to do. And I just really appreciate that because we can take this into any part of our life
Any
that
part
we
of your
feel
life.
is dead or stagnant right now. Like we can take
Exactly.
this into our
Just
lives.
know that you get to decide if it's the last chapter,
Mm,
right? You get to decide. You get to decide if this is day one or one day. And I chose that to be day one. Like the day that I woke up, every day, mind racing, mind having all kind of thoughts in it. You know, I decided that, yeah, my story doesn't end here. It can't end here. I wasn't done. I lay down in bed and I was, like I said, already had my storyline. I already had things in my life. I already, I have a library, a book in the Library of Congress. I already talking and visiting, doing all these things. And that was called the power of choice, right? When you
yeah.
change your mind about yourself, you change your life. So that's what that was. And then I was asking, like, Lord, okay, what is this other stuff? What is this? And he told me I would meet people with dreams and visions he had given. And my job was to help them to get seen, get heard. My job was to tell them it's time to do what we need to do. And so that's the message I've been sharing ever since I woke up. Like after that interaction and I understood the assignment, that's all I've been doing.
Is those three words, understanding the assignment?
Yeah.
I love that as a great reminder to all of us. And I like talking about this too, about my personal shift, it wasn't as that dramatic, but when the world locked down, right? Like
Mm,
I had the choice and the opportunity to fold up my business or keep going forward. And one of the
yeah.
best things came out of it, out of that pain and that
Yeah.
isolation and all these other things that we were going through, all of us different things. And I think, understanding my personal assignment has definitely shifted my life too. So,
Absolutely.
fast forward to 2024, right?
Exactly.
We're both
Exactly.
kind of understanding the assignment.
Understand
We've seen
and
a
that
new chapter form.
it changes the way you think about things
Yeah.
and the way you think about people. Like I didn't know I was dying. That could have been my death day. That could have been the other part. Like, you talk about the birthday and then dash, and then my dash would have been over. And
Hmm.
I didn't feel like that. I didn't feel like I was sick enough to die, but yet I did. So on this side of that, I tell people on this side of death, I come to empower people to do it. Like do something, do whatever you can to fulfill those dreams and visions that you were given that are innately who you are. Like on this side of that whole experience, I was still working. I was still talking to people. I've been talking to people the whole time. That period of time, I was semi-isolated. Like I had a friend that was all over the world doing all kind of things, and I do truly believe I caught COVID from him. But I was still meeting people online because I had already had an online presence,
Oh,
and so
yeah.
I was still meeting people online and helping people with their business issues and doing the things I normally do. There's the visitor.
Yeah, there we got the kitty coming to visit.
Hey,
Speaking of the old man, he's coming to join
absolutely.
us.
But yeah, those things that I had already did in my business for 8, 9 years.
Yeah.
I was already busy doing those things, and so this took me a level higher, like a level much higher. I've met people all over the world, literally all over the world. And when I tell them my story and tell them what happened, they know exactly why we're talking. They find me all types of ways. I met someone who was in the city where COVID started. She's working on a military base there. Her
Stand.
husband works on the military base there. And she was on my show. Like, I meet people all over the place. And I get to tell them what happened to me. And I get to tell them that it's time for them to do whatever that is that they've been given to do to help inspire and change lives for people around them. And so I feel honored. These are like, you're a miracle. I don't feel like a miracle. I feel like a blessing.
Yeah, who wouldn't want that in their life, right? And speaking into each other's lives with
Yeah,
that kind of intention and the
yeah.
heart. Who wouldn't want a Linda in their lives, right? Like
Linda wants a Linda, and
Linda needs a Linda, Jen needs a Jen. It's like we all
yeah,
need having these voices that encourage us and push us sometimes gently forward or sometimes a kick in
absolutely.
the butt.
Yeah, a kick in the butt when we need it, right? Being able to say
Absolutely.
the true things and not necessarily the emotional things.
Yeah. Yeah. This
Being
is
able to tell people this is truth. And it doesn't change whether you like it or not. It's really not up to you to like it or not. It's just this is truth.
Yeah, I cannot tell you how many times somebody's told me a truth and I'm just bawling because I know it's true deep down, but you know how sometimes we just cover it up and we just don't want to believe the things that are brilliantly inside of us too,
Yeah.
because we don't, for those of us that maybe resonate with not fitting in or feeling a little bit out
Uh,
of place some days, right? And you're trying to find your place. Let's just be
yeah.
honest. Like so many of us over the years, over this course of time, are just trying to find our place.
But the thing about it is we look outward for it, right?
Yeah, always.
And it's always inward. Like our place is an inward thing. It's not about fitting in when you were born to stand out. Like there is no fitting in. I have a sixth grade picture, my sixth grade graduation, and all the girls are real dainty and pretty, and they're all up front. I'm the only little thing standing on the back row with the boys on this little leg, this stoop. And I was like, you know what? I've been outstanding all my life. I've never fit in.
You know, I
And,
just
and
like what you just said. I have been outstanding all my life.
absolutely,
Outstanding.
absolutely,
I love that.
absolutely. And so have you. Like, because
Yeah.
that's why you can't fit in. That's why I've never fitted in. Even though a part of being a human is to be accepted, the need or want to be accepted,
Or just to
right?
for me, another word I've learned is belong. I just want to belong,
Yeah,
right? You want to
yeah.
feel that way.
But you know what? The first part of that is just to be,
Yeah.
whether you belong or not, just to be. Allow me to
Just
be.
be.
And whatever that is, absolutely. Just
That's
let me
where
be.
that's definitely a place where I've been enjoying these last several years is learning to be.
Yeah.
And it's a beautiful thing.
And
And
it's freeing.
it is
And
so
it's not,
freeing. And every time I talk with somebody about the best and the hardest work I've ever done is literally to just be who I am, like be.
yeah, just to
And
be.
I can work really hard in my business and I can do the checklists and I can do the goals. But at the end of my life, am I me? That's kind of really where I'm at.
Finding yourself,
Me.
finding, and that's why I said we look outside for that.
Yeah.
But there's an innate, when you have been given a talent, a skill, a difference, when you're different from all the people like you, born with you, raised with you, in the house with you, like when you're different from all the people, right?
Yeah.
You seek to find people like you or people that at least appreciate the difference in you. But that self appreciation, that self awareness that makes you you so that you can fully show up in
Yeah.
who you are, in your brilliance, because you're quirky, like your quirkiness is accepted and it's not, it doesn't make you different. It just makes you you.
Hmm.
You know, I have a person the other day, she said, well, I have to learn how to not say, and I'm like, no, be you. Don't change now because we've been, I have a 53-year relationship with this person. We attend the same church. She's 100% being who she is now all this time. And if after 53 years she feels like she has to change, that's not on her. That's on me because she's shown up exactly as she is. And I have to learn to accept it. It doesn't bother me that you're who you are. Stay there. Be that. Yeah. Don't change, honey. Not now.
And I'm sure you also have people in your life, probably many people at this point where you've seen this transformation go for them. And there's
Oh
a
yeah.
handful
Oh
of
yeah.
people in my life that I just kind of watch, because
Yeah.
sometimes you're in their life and sometimes you're just watching from the balcony and you're
Absolutely.
loving on them from the balcony and you're cheering for them.
Cheering them
And
on.
I have seen
Absolutely.
so many people embrace all of who they are, and just seeing them walk in that is just so wonderfully inspiring. And it makes me to continue the journey as well. Like sometimes it's just a journey to get there.
It is. It is. But what a journey it is because all the people you get to meet along the way
Yeah.
and all the people you get to inspire. Like I used to think you had to be, hills and mountains and decades ahead of people in order to help them. And the truth of the matter is you just need to be ahead of them to help them, to bring them along. You reach back and grab them while you're climbing.
Mm-hmm.
because there's always somebody behind you. They could really, really use a hand up.
Hmm. I've always loved that graphic too. Every time I would, sometimes there's these conventions that we would go to and we talk about, the person in front of you holding a hand, holding your hand, and then you're reaching
Yeah,
back for somebody else. And you're all kind of like going up in a wherever you are.
absolutely. Absolutely.
A line on a
Absolutely.
mountain and a
Wherever
pathway,
it is, wherever it is, the
along the
land
beach.
of indecision, crossing the land of indecision.
Yes, the jumping from the lion's head where you don't see the path yet.
Absolutely, absolutely. But those are the things, I truly, truly believe that we all come to this world with a gift. And those gifts are not alike, but they do align. And so we are here to present that gift that we were given to deliver to the world. And when we don't, the people who we were destined to serve, they go unserved.
Yeah.
And so, in order to do what we were uniquely established to do, we all have to show up. We all have to be in our brilliance. We all have to keep being outstanding.
Yeah, I love that. Outstanding. I was always outstanding. I'm gonna take
that
that with
picture,
me today.
that picture resonated. That I looked at that picture and I was like, ah, look at here. Like somebody who took the picture actually sent it to me because I didn't know what I looked like as a kid from the lens of other people. I
Mm.
was too I was too engulfed by the death of my mother.
Hmm.
Like
Hmm.
I felt like I was like this high in water and just wanting to breathe. And so I didn't understand all the different nuances that come along with not having a female uh taking care of you as a little girl. Like I felt like I was just treading water and really just up to my nose in water all the time. And so going back, and I always ask people who had pictures of me back then to share them with me because I need to see what I looked like then. I have no clue of that. I was traumatized. I was truly traumatized going through that part of my life. And so when I find pictures of me and I find that there were moments when I was happy and there was moments when people were loving on me and sharing with me, like all of those things made me who I am today and opened a heart. I was, because I didn't have a mother, there were so many things I didn't know about life and being. And so when I see young ladies now, I never assume they know anything I haven't taught them. Because a lot of times back then, people went by my age or what I looked like. They were like, well, she's old enough to know. But what I learned in life is you only know those things you've been exposed to. And in the case you didn't have that teaching, then it's foreign to you. You have no clue about that. And so I always enter conversations, especially with young ladies, from where they are and not from where I think they should be.
Yeah. And that's a good thing to remember, especially
Yeah,
in this world right now, just because we're around adults that look adult. There could be things that they have not uncovered about themselves. There's things they haven't dealt with. And sometimes we do have to meet people right where they are.
right. Meet them where they are, right? And know that your parents did not raise them being good or bad. Your parents did not raise them. And so their raising was completely different. My raising was completely different from a
Definitely.
lot of people. You
Yeah.
know, my dad was 50 years old when my mom died, had never raised children,
Oh my goodness.
had six all at once.
Woo! Yeah.
The fact that he didn't pack and run away, but he didn't. He stuck and stayed. And I lost him when I turned 30, but he stuck and stayed. Like she had four kids when he met her, and he became father for all of those kids.
Wow.
And so you know, I know he was completely traumatized because my daddy was a rolling stone.
Oh man, I know we could talk all day long, and I love that you've shared so many impactful parts of your story. And as we're winding down the conversation, I know it goes so quickly. Um, what's your quick tattoo story? I know we have a little one to talk about
Yeah,
real
yeah, we
fast.
do. So
Tell me.
I went to Memphis and I got a henna, uh, temporary tattoo
Yeah.
with a friend. We both went there. Oh, it was we were spending the night, and like I said, I wasn't ready to commit, but I did want the experience, and
Yeah.
so I had her to do it with me. And so so she did one, I did one. She did like a flower. We did put them on our backs, and we went back to the hotel. We get to the hotel. She calls her husband, and she said, "Guess what I did today?" No, she tells her daughter. She said, "Guess what I did today? I got a tattoo." And we were like, "Yeah, we were so happy, and we were trying, and we're going, it'll wash off in a few days, whatever." Her husband went ballistic. Oh my God, you're going to get that off your body now. You're desecrating your body. Oh my gosh. I wore mine the whole rest of the time, but for her, I caused trauma in her life. And I felt so sad for her
Aw.
because she got in trouble and she didn't have to. She was following my lead. Again, outstanding, leading the wrong way. But I thought it was an experience and it was a temporary
But I
thing.
was gonna say it's temporary. So it's like, if you're trying to play a joke on your spouse or whatever and be like, oh yeah, I got a tattoo, and then it washes off in 3 days.
Yeah, yeah. And that was my thinking, right? It wasn't
Yeah.
permanent, but yeah, that was
No,
my
and I've
that was
had
my
people
tattoo
on
story.
that talk about their experiences of that because it gives them that feeling of like, I've gotten something stamped on my body, if briefly, about a moment in time and a memory that I just made with myself and my friend, family, whatever, you know?
Yeah. Yeah, and that's what that was. That's what it started out to be.
Yep.
It ended very differently, but that's what it started out to be. She was happy, and I was happy, and we were showing them, and
Yeah, you're
and
like,
you know we yeah, girl time and things in 3 days it was been gone. Hers was gone that night, but mine lasted 3 days, and
That's
so
awesome.
and so I enjoyed it for what it was, an
That's
experience.
awesome. Well, thank you for sharing that because
Yeah,
everybody who's out here like thinking about tattoos, if you don't want to commit to something, just go try something temporary in
yeah, something
tattoo
temporary.
land. Linda, as we're rounding out our wonderful chat today, what is something that we can leave our listeners with today?
Is you have the power to make choices, to bounce back, to live the life that's in your head. It all starts with you.
Yes. Well, I want to thank everyone for joining us yet again, like on a wonderful episode of the Tattoos and Toddlers podcast. And I look forward to maybe speaking with Linda again in the near future for another project. Who
Absolutely.
knows? But
Absolutely.
thank you, Linda, again for coming on today, and I'll see y'all on the next episode.
Absolutely. Thank you. Y'all have a great day.